Hello and welcome to Audio Affairs video for this, the Linn LP12, first introduced in 1972 at a time when source components were not as critical, or thought not to be as critical as things like amplifiers and speakers, that sort of thing, but Ivor Tiefenbrunn realised the potential of having a deck that could extract as much as you possibly can from a record. Never going to get it all off, but this does an exceptional job of doing that. This one we've got here is the Magic. There are 3 versions in the range, all have different specs and different ways of doing things, but the general design in terms of how it operates is pretty much the same. They are built to order by us, so when you place an order we will build it to spec for you. And we can custom build as well, different options. You know, you might have a plinth already or something and you want us to redo everything for you, or we can do it all from scratch, however you want to do it. I want to have a brief look at some of the components and how it is the sum of the parts really. All of the components make up the deck. So starting with this one here, which is the outer platter. So this is the surface the record sits on, holding it stable in order for the Tonearm to come over and pick up the sound. Inside of that is what we call the inner platter. So this is the inner platter, which then sits in the bearing housing, and as you can see the belt goes around here and there's a motor here as well. So the movement of the motor moves the inner platter within the bearing, moving the outer platter, and therefore attaining the speed we need in order to play a record properly. Here we have the Tonearm. So for a time on the Magic level, Linn were using a Project carbon fibre arm, but now they've moved to a Linn spec, Linn branded arm, which is really smart, fits perfectly with the Addict cartridge. At this level, the Magic level, you're getting a moving magnet cartridge. That is the appropriate cartridge to fit at that level, and the nice thing is if you have a mishap or something like that, the actual stylus is removable, changeable, so you can fit another one if you have an issue. As you've probably seen, as I keep moving it, it is actually what they call a suspended turntable, suspended sub-chassis here that sits on springs. So if I just show you here, as you can see, if we gently move it, it rocks, and that helps isolate everything from everything else that's going on within the deck. So that's one of the key features. This deck is certainly now, for what we do, one of the only decks that is probably the only deck that is completely isolated in terms of this suspension. As we're building them, we tune them, we're turning the springs, we're adjusting the deck, making sure it's perfectly level. So when you get your deck, it's set, it's beautiful, you put the record on and off you go. For a time there was, well, for a very long time, there's only been very selected finishes available, such as this one, which is the walnut. There's an oak, there's a rose nut, there's a black ash, and there's a couple of other ones. But Linn very recently to us doing this video have just announced a couple of things. One is a bearing that I'm going to come to in a minute, but the other one actually is what they're going to be offering custom finishes. So when I spoke to Linn, they said you could pretty much choose whatever finish you want, be that an R8L code or any other type paint code. They can paint match and spec out your plinth to whatever finish you want. So if you want your deck to match the curtains, you can of course do that. It is available in every level for demonstration in our Birmingham store. So we've got this one, this is our Magic. We have the Accurate, which is the next one up, which takes the power supply, puts it off board. It's a completely different arm and cartridge combination, and a different sub-chassis as well. And then moving forward from there, we go right to the top, which we have what's called a Climax level. At that point, that one's really quite special. When it outputs, it's picking up off the record, it goes into a DAC, it digitizes it, it then comes out in Ethernet and it plugs into something like a Linn Climax DS, and the digital conversion's done in there. I mean, they're really, Linn have always been at the forefront of what they're doing, but certainly with turntables they are right at the cutting edge of what is available. There's various payment options available from us, such as your traditional cash, PayPal, that sort of thing. We can also tailor a 0% finance package for you. If you want to have a chat with one of our experts, they are available on hand. You can call, you can speak to me, just ask for Richard. There's a 5-year warranty with this. As I say, we will build it, we'll install it. And yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful deck, as you can see. Probably going to put up a couple of other finishes for you to have a look at, and a few close-ups and everything, just so you can get a feel for it. But really, you need to come to our Birmingham store, sit down, have a nice coffee or a beer, and have a proper listen to this deck. So we look forward to seeing you soon.